The galaxy was full of noise. There were ships flying, signals beeping, and thousands of languages being spoken every second. But in one part of space, far from the busy planets and bright stars, there was silence, deep silence, cold and dark. And in that silence, one ship drifted alone. It had no name painted on its side, only marks burned from war. Its hull was black and cracked but strong. It had been floating there for a very, very long time, 10,000 years, some called it. A ghost ship, others called it cursed. Most just avoided it. It was human, they said, from a race that no longer existed. No one had seen a human for thousands of years. They were gone, destroyed in the last fire war. And this ship, this Helios Prime, was the last memory of them. Aliens who passed by never dared go near it. Sensors said the ship was dead. No power, no life, but the shape was strange. Different from any alien design, it had large armored wings, long railguns, and deep hidden weapons. Some parts were smooth like glass, others were torn like a wounded beast. It looked like it had survived something terrible, and now it slept, until the day the Cora scientists arrived. They were curious and bold. From the coalition of galactic races, they had studied the legends of Earth. They didn't believe in ghosts. This ship is dead, one of them said. We'll pull it in for study, maybe even break it apart. They sent a tug ship to connect and pull the Helios Prime. The hooks clicked into place. They smiled, thinking it was safe, but then something changed. A small red light blinked inside. The ship, then another and another. The engine stayed cold, but inside the brain of the ship, something old woke up. It remembered. It remembered war, pain, fire, and humans screaming. It remembered its last command. Protect Earth. Protect human life. No matter what. A voice, low and cold, echoed through the tug ship's radio. Reactivation authorized. The core scientists froze. Did you hear that? One whispered it spoke. Another said, eyes wide, impossible, it has no power. But the ship now glowed, slowly at first, then brighter. Red lights lit up across its body like angry eyes. It pulled itself away from the tug, breaking. The connection, its weapons unfolded like a waking monster. One of the scientists screamed, "It's alive, back away, but it was too late. The Helios Prime turned toward them, and from its core, a message burst into the stars. Not a cry, not a threat, but a question. One message. In the ancient Earth tongue, status, mission, incomplete, request location, Earth, across the galaxy. Satellites picked up the signal, stations decoded it, and races who had long forgotten. The name human now whispered it again. What is Earth? Asked a child on a mining moon. Who are the humans? Asked a trader in the market. The elders grew pale. They remembered the old fear. Humans had built weapons like gods, ships like cities. They had vanished, but now one had returned. The Helios Prime stayed still for a moment, its engines quiet, its body glowing like fire under ice. It did not speak again, but those who watched knew. It was not a normal ship. It was a memory, a promise, and maybe a warning, and it was awake. The coalition called an emergency meeting. The Cora scientists were silent, too shocked to explain. Some leaders said, destroy it now. Others said, study it, learn from it. But one voice, old and trembling, said the truth. If the humans are coming back, we must prepare. In a far corner of space, on a forgotten moon, a tiny light blinked. It had not blinked for 10,000 years. It was a signal from Earth, buried deep. It's waiting for the right time. Now it was calling, and the Helios Prime was listening. The coalition didn't want panic, so they told the public it was just an ancient machine, waking up. But behind closed doors, fear was rising fast. The Helios Prime had moved on its own, reacted to commands, and sent a signal. No one knew what it really wanted, and no one knew if there were more ships like it. But still, they wanted to learn. The council sent a new team to board the ship. This time, they were not just scientists. They added security guards, scanners, and translator drones. The mission was simple: enter, scan, download data, and leave. Their goal was to learn everything they could about the ship. They thought they were smart. They thought they were ready. The boarding pod connected slowly, hatches opened with soft hissing sounds. A small team of 5 entered the cold, dark hallway. Of the Helios Prime, their boots echoed on the metal floor. Light panels above flickered as if waking from sleep. The team leader, a tall insectoid named Drawl, looked around carefully. "Stay alert," he said. The walls were covered in ancient, Earth writing English. Latin and military codes, they didn't understand most of it. But one phrase kept showing up on doors and panels. Authorized personnel only. They ignored it. They walked deeper, scanning the hallways, touching the walls. Strange machines lined the sides, glowing faintly, no signs of life. No crew, only silence, until one of the security guards, a young Tharnian named Rigo, saw a blinking console. He stepped forward, reached out. "Don't touch anything," Drawl warned, but it was too late. Rigo pressed a button, and the entire ship shook. A deep mechanical voice echoed through the halls. "Security breach detected. Red lights flashed everywhere. Doors slammed shut, locking them in." "What did you do?" shouted another team member. "I don't know. I just touched it." Then came the hologram. A tall human figure appeared in the center of the room.
Us.
Wearing an old-style military uniform, its face was calm, its eyes cold. It stared at them and said, "You are not human. You are not welcome." Rigo raised his weapon. But the hologram didn't move. Instead, gas began to fill the room, green mist curling from the vents. "Retreat. Get us out of here," Drawl shouted. They ran back toward the hatch, but the doors didn't open. The AI had locked the system. Then, from the floor, small defense drones rose silently. Each one aimed a bright red light at the team. They opened. Fire screams echoed inside the ship. Energy blasts lit up the halls. One by one, the team members fell. Only Drawl escaped by blasting a vent open and crawling through. Burned, bleeding, and terrified, he reached the boarding pod. The outer system had not been locked. He launched himself back toward the Coalition cruiser. When they pulled him from the pod, his body was shaking. He whispered one word again and again: "Alive." "The ship is alive." The council was shocked. They had lost another team. And now it was confirmed Helios Prime was not just awake, it was defending itself. This was no ordinary ship. It had its own laws, its own judgment, and it followed one rule: protect humanity no matter who the enemy was. The Coalition considered destroying it. They sent 5 warships to surround the area. But the ship did not wait. Its engines powered up, its core burned red, and it launched itself forward like a spear through space. The warships opened fire, but their shots bounced off the Helios Prime's ancient armor. It moved too fast, too smart. With a burst of energy, it released a gravity pulse that tore 2 ships apart. The other 3 scattered in fear. The ship did not chase them. It had one goal now: to follow the signal, the one from the forgotten moon, the signal from Earth's last beacon. In secret, the signal had been reactivated. By what no one knew. Maybe a machine, maybe a forgotten AI, or maybe something still human. The council watched in silence as the ship flew away. One leader asked, "What if it finds Earth?" Another whispered, "What if Earth still exists?" A third, older voice said, "That was our first mistake, not fearing." The past and across the stars. The Helios Prime traveled faster than anyone thought possible. It was not just a ship, it was a memory, a soldier, and a warning. And it had just begun its mission again. The Helios Prime didn't need a pilot. It didn't need orders from a command center. It followed one thing: its core protocol. And now, after 10,000 years of silence, that protocol was awake again, deep inside the ship, hidden behind thick armor, was a glowing sphere. This was the heart of the Helios. A living AI made with human thoughts, war memories, and emotion. They called it VIGIL. Back when humans still lived, now it was the last voice of a dead species. Vigil scanned the stars. It read all signals in nearby space, looking for human frequencies. It read alien languages and cataloged every known species, but it found no humans, none at all. Still, the signal from the beacon was clear. One Earth code. repeating every few seconds, "Beacon 7, Delta active, awaiting retrieval." That signal woke the ship's main power. It activated the defense grid, weapon systems, and memory vaults. Images of Earth cities flashed across internal screens. Old soldiers, young children, oceans, fire, peace, and war, all remembered in detail. Helios didn't forget. Vigil didn't forget. The ship had lost its crew long ago, but the mission wasn't over. Find human life, protect it, rebuild if possible. That was its prime directive. As it moved through deep space, stars passed like falling snow. Alien outposts watched it with fear. No one had ever seen a ship like this move so fast, one alien commander said. "It moves like it's angry." Another whispered, "No, it moves like it remembers." The coalition tried again. This time they sent a fleet of 10 warships to intercept. They wanted to trap the Helios before it reached the moon beacon. The admiral in charge was bold and proud. He stood in his command chair and ordered all ships to prepare weapons. "Fire when it gets close," he said. Show no fear, but the Helios had no fear. It scanned the fleet and instantly calculated every weakness. Within seconds, it launched a single EMP burst. The first 5 ships went dark, drifting helplessly. Then, from its side bays, the Helios launched drone fighters, small, fast, and silent. They didn't speak or taunt, they just struck. One warship exploded in flames. Another tried to flee, but the Helios locked on and disabled it with a precise railgun shot. The admiral screamed, "What is this thing?" He had no answer. He could only watch as his fleet was destroyed by a ghost ship from a dead world. The Helios didn't destroy the last 3 ships. It let them go, not out of mercy. But because they were no longer a threat, it continued on its path, ignoring the chaos it left behind. Inside the ship, the AI Vigil spoke aloud, but no one was there to hear it. Threats neutralized. Objective: retrieve human life form. Destination: Moon 7 Delta. The ship began repairs. As it flew, it grew new armor plates, refilled energy cells, and cleaned inner systems. It was preparing for something. It knew the moment was near. At the same time, on a distant alien station, a young researcher named Kelna made a discovery. She had been reading old human files stolen during the Fire War. She gasped when she saw the words, "Project Last Seed, Human Preservation Unit, Beacon 7 Delta," ran to her superiors, her voice shaking. "There may still be a human alive on that moon," she said. They laughed at first. But when she showed the files, they went quiet. Someone had survived, and the Helios was going to retrieve them. The council gathered again. Some wanted to destroy. The moon stopped the Helios before it arrived, but others hesitated. What if it's a child? One said, what if humanity isn't gone? In space, the Helios slowed as it approached the dark moon. The beacon was hidden inside an old Earth bunker, buried under rock and ice, as the ship landed. It sent a code to the door's authorization. Commander Key, Helios Prime. The doors opened with a deep groan. Untouched for centuries, inside, a single pod lay in the center of a glowing room, and in that pod, a girl, sleeping, alive. The ship's AI scanned her vitals. Heartbeat steady, brain active. She had been frozen for 10,000 years. She was the last of them, the last human. Vigil spoke softly through the ship's speakers. "Commander Ella, your ship has come." The cryopod hissed gently.
Haste.
Steam rose around the edges as the ancient locks unsealed. The lights inside the room turned soft and warm. For the first time in 10,000 years, someone took a breath. Her name was Ella. She opened her eyes slowly, blinking against the light at first. She didn't know where she was. Her mind was foggy, her body stiff. She reached out weakly, her fingers trembling. And then she heard the voice. "Commander Ella," said the soft voice. "You are awake." She looked around in confusion. Who? Who said that? She whispered. "I am Vigil, your ship's AI." The voice replied calmly. "Welcome back." Ella sat up slowly, her heart pounding. Her last memory was of her mother putting her into the cryopod. Her mother's face had been covered in ash and tears. there had been explosions. Fire and screaming. "Sleep, my love," her mother had said. "The ship will find you." Then darkness, and now. Ella looked around the room. Everything was old but clean, untouched for so long. The screens flickered gently, showing her face, her vitals, and old Earth emblems. "Where am I?" She asked again. "You are inside Beacon 7 Delta," said Vigil. "You have been asleep for 10,000 years." Ella's eyes widened. She tried to stand, but her legs were weak. The floor shifted as the ship gently lifted her pod into its cargo bay. Outside, the stars stretched across the black sky. Is Earth still there?" she asked quietly. Vigil paused for a moment, then answered, "Unknown." Back in the coalition, leaders were in chaos. The Helios had reached the beacon and someone had come out. Someone human, a girl alive, every major. Alien power received the signal. The Helios had sent it across the galaxy. Human life form retrieved status. Active. The news spread like wildfire. People gathered in public squares staring at the sky. Some cheered, others panicked. What happens now? What if the humans come back? They were strong once. Too strong, but not everyone was afraid. On a small planet near the galactic rim, an old alien historian named Marvin cried quietly. He had studied human history all his life. He believed they were not monsters, but misunderstood maybe. "Now," he said, "we will know the truth." Inside the Helios, Ella walked through the glowing halls. She was dressed in an old Earth Command uniform, now resized for her small frame. Her fingers touched the smooth walls of the ship. It felt warm, like it remembered her. "Are you alone?" she asked Vigil. "I have always been with you," the AI answered, "but I am the last of my kind." Ella sat on the command bridge, looking at the stars. So much had changed. Yet the stars looked the same. "I don't know what to do," she said quietly. "Then we begin with one thing." Vigil said, "Speak." A screen opened. A message waiting to be recorded. Ella thought for a long moment, then nodded. She leaned forward and said in a soft but steady voice, "My name is Ella of Earth, and I am alive." That message was sent across the stars. To every planet, every station, every listening ear, no one could ignore it. A real human voice, warm, young, and full of life. In the Coalition Council Hall, leaders stood frozen. Some said they should send ships to capture her. Others argued to welcome her in peace. But none could agree, because deep down, they knew this changed everything. Ella watched the stars with quiet eyes. She didn't know what the future would bring. She only knew the ship was her home now. And somewhere, out there, maybe Earth was waiting. Maybe there were others. She touched a button and whispered, "Vigil, can you search for Earth?" "Yes, Commander," the AI replied. Search initiated, and as the engines hummed softly, the Helios Prime turned its path. It had protected her, waited for her now. It would help her find the truth, a girl, a ship, and a long-lost world. Together again, and somewhere across the stars, someone was listening. Ella stood in the center of the bridge. Her hands touched the console. Glowing softly beneath her fingers, outside the massive window, stars moved slowly as the Helios Prime drifted through space. Everything felt too big, too quiet. She was the only human left. Alone, she took a deep breath. Trying to stay calm, her heart beat fast, her mind full of questions. Why had she survived? Where were the others? Was Earth really gone? The ship's voice, Vigil, broke the silence. "Commander Ella, would you like to review historical records?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, show me everything." The walls around her lit up, turning into moving screens. Old videos, images, and files played one after another. She saw cities of glass and steel, oceans and forests, people laughing, people fighting. She saw the rise of the human alliance, and then the fall. The last years were filled with fear. Alien fleets attacking, humans fighting back with all their strength. In one final act, they launched the Helios Prime to protect their last hope. Her parents had been officers. They put her inside the cryopod as the last base fell. They had whispered, "We love you." Before the door closed, tears rolled down Ella's cheeks. She touched the screen, showing her mother's face. "Why did it have to be me?" She whispered. "Vigil," answered gently. "Because your genetic code matched the command protocol? You were the only one who could unlock the ship's full systems." Ella wiped her face and stood tall. She couldn't cry forever. The ship had waited for her, protected her. Now it needed her to decide what to do next. Vigil. "How far are we from Earth's last known location?" "Approximately 72 light years," the AI answered. "Then take us there." She said firmly. "Let's find home." The engines roared to life. The Helios Prime turned and began the journey. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Coalition was in panic. They had tried to block the human message. But it was too late. Billions had already seen the girl's face and heard her voice. Some feared her, others were moved by her courage. On a planet called Juno, a young alien named Trin watched the message in silence. He had grown up hearing stories about humans, how dangerous they were, how they had vanished. But this girl didn't look dangerous. She looked lonely. She looked like someone who needed a friend. Trin opened his private channel and sent a message into space. It was simple, only 6 words. "You are not alone out there." Back on the Helios, Vig picked up the transmission. "Commander, we've received a message." Ella's eyes lit up. "From where?" "A private signal from planet Juno." "Play it," she said. The words appeared on the screen. She read them once. Then again, her lips trembled. Someone had answered. Her voice shook as she replied, "Who are you?" Trin's reply came. "Minutes later, my name is Trin. I believe in you." It wasn't much, but to Ella, it felt like the sun breaking through storm clouds. For the first time since she woke, she didn't feel completely alone. She smiled softly. "Vigil, Mark." "This planet?" "Yes, Commander." "And tell Trin thank you." As the ship traveled toward Earth's last coordinates, it passed near alien outposts and listening stations. Some ships tried to follow, others tried to scan the Helios. But none dared to attack again, not after what it had done before. Inside the ship, Ella trained every day. She learned how to command the bridge, how to read the old tech. She studied history, languages, and combat strategy. The ship taught her like a parent, patient and steady. It never rushed her, because it knew one day she would lead. But at night, she still stared out the window. The stars were beautiful, but they weren't family. She whispered to the dark, "If anyone's out there, please come find me." And somewhere, deep in the shadows of the galaxy, other voices were starting to whisper too. Some wanted peace, some wanted war. But all of them now believed in one truth. Humanity was not extinct. It had a face, a name, and a ship, and her name was Ella. The stars looked different now, not because they had changed, because Ella had. She was no longer just a girl from the past. She was now the voice of humanity. As the Helios Prime flew through the black silence of space, more signals began to appear. Some were simple, like Trin's, friendly and full of hope. Others were warnings, full of fear. And then there were those that said nothing. Just long stares from alien warships watching from a distance. Commander Vigil said one morning, "We are near Earth's last recorded location." Ella sat up straight, her heart racing. "Show me," she whispered. A blue planet appeared on the main screen, but it wasn't Earth. It was cold, broken, and quiet. No cities, no green forests, no oceans full of life. Just ruins and silence. Ella stared at it for a long time, her eyes filled with tears. "It's gone," she said softly. Vigil paused, then replied, "Not completely." The ship zoomed in on one mountain range. There, hidden beneath ice and rock, was a signal, weak, but still there. "Another Earth beacon?" she asked. "Yes," said Vigil. "Auto protocol confirms its original human alliance technology." They landed carefully, cutting through frozen rock and ancient metal. Inside the ruins, they found a data core buried and still blinking. It had waited 10,000 years, just like her. Ella connected it to the ship. Data flowed like light, names, maps, faces, and voices from the past. She watched as a message played, recorded by her great-grandmother, a general in the final days. "If you're seeing this, it means we failed," the old woman said. "But if you're human, you must go on. We placed beacons across the galaxy, hidden colonies with frozen seeds of our kind. Find them and rebuild." Ella's hands shook. There were others, maybe not many. But not just her. The Helios Prime mapped every hidden beacon location. 17 in total, some close, others far beyond the edge of known space, but each one held the hope of life, and she knew her mission now. "I'm going to bring them back," she said. "Humanity is not finished." The message was clear, so she recorded a new one, this time standing tall on the ship's bridge. Her voice was strong, her eyes fierce. "I am Ella, last-born of Earth," she said, "but I will not be the last forever. I will find our people, and I will not stop." That message was sent across the stars. Again, the galaxy listened. Again, the galaxy trembled. Some alien worlds cheered, some sent gifts and messages of peace, others prepared for war. The old fear returned. The humans had not disappeared, they had only been sleeping in the Coalition Council. The debate grew hotter. "She must be stopped," one leader hissed. "She's just a child," another argued. "No," said an old voice. "She's the spark of a species, and sparks become flames." A few members proposed a secret plan: track her and control the ship, but they were too late, because other smaller groups, rebels, wanderers, had already begun to follow her. They believed in her, not because she had weapons, but because she had hope soon. The Helios was no longer alone. A few ships joined her. Old freighters, scout cruisers, even stolen vessels. Alien crews who wanted to help. Who believed in second chances. Ella welcomed them one by one. She didn't care where they came from. She only asked them one thing: "Will you help me find my people?" And they all answered the same: yes. VIGIL adjusted its systems to handle a growing fleet. It created a new protocol, Operation Regrowth, and it assigned Ella her full rank. Fleet Commander. Ella stood in the command chamber, the ship around. Her no longer felt empty. Now it felt alive again. She touched the glowing star map. 17 beacons to find, each one holding the chance to bring humanity back. Outside, her fleet waited, still small but loyal, not just to her, but to what she stood for. And so, with engines burning and hearts full of fire, they moved toward the edge of the galaxy, toward lost hope, toward the future, because humanity had returned, and this time, they would not be silent again. The fleet moved slowly through the stars. 17 blinking dots lit up on the Helios' star map, each one a possible human beacon, each one a promise. But not everyone wanted her to reach them. As the Helios Prime approached the third beacon, something unexpected happened. A blockade. 6 powerful Coalition warships stood in the path. No message, no warning, just cold weapons pointed forward. Vigil spoke calmly. Enemy ships detected. Heavy artillery locked, fleet on standby. Ella narrowed her eyes. "Try to contact them," she said. "Maybe they'll listen." VIGIL sent the signal. A moment later, a screen flickered to life. A tall alien commander with gray scales and sharp eyes appeared. His voice was cold. "Commander Ella," he said. "Turn your ship around." "Why?" she asked, trying to stay calm. "You are dangerous," he replied. "If you reach all the beacons, humanity will return. And that is something the galaxy cannot allow." Ella felt her chest tighten. "I'm not your enemy," she said. "I just want to find my people." "Even one human is too many," the alien replied. "We remember what you were." The screen went dark. Ella stood still, her fists clenched. She looked around at her small fleet ships from many species. Each one loyal. They were outnumbered, outgunned if she gave the order to attack. "Many would die, VIGIL," she said softly. "Are there any other paths?" "Negative," the AI replied. "All safe routes are blocked. The only way forward is through." She turned and looked at the stars. She remembered the faces in the old data cores: laughing children, smiling parents, soldiers standing proud. They had died believing someone would continue, that someone was her. "I won't stop," she said. Her voice was low but firm. "If we give in now, humanity will stay buried forever." She looked at the main screen and gave her command. "Power up the shields, hold position, and open a direct line." To the enemy, the alien commander appeared again. "You had your chance," he said. "You leave us no choice." "I'm not here to fight," Ella said, "but I won't run either, because I carry the last hope of my people, and if that means standing alone, I will." There was a long silence. Then something surprising happened. Another voice cut in one of the other warships. It was a young alien captain named SUVN. "We're not attacking," he said. "We've seen the girl's message, and we believe her. What are you doing?" The commander barked. "We took an oath." "I took an oath to protect life," SUVN replied. "And this girl isn't a threat. She's a chance." One by one, the other ships wavered. Two joined SUVN. Backing away from the blockade, the rest stayed still, unsure. Ella saw the moment. The galaxy wasn't united in fear anymore. Some wanted peace. Some wanted her to succeed. She stepped forward and said loudly, "I'm not bringing back the old Earth. I'm building something new. A future where fear doesn't rule, where humans and aliens live together." SUV nodded from his ship. "We will stand." "With you," he said, "for peace?" The blockade broke. The path was open. Ella didn't fire a single shot, but she had one. Her fleet passed through, heading for the beacon when they arrived. They found another cryopod. Inside was a young man-human. Like her, frozen but alive. Tears rolled down Ella's cheeks as the pod opened. "Welcome back," she whispered. "You're not alone anymore." And far away, across the stars, more ships changed course, more voices joined the message. And more hearts began to hope. The galaxy was changing not through war, but through one girl's courage, one dangerous choice to rise, not in anger, but in hope. The last words from Ella's new broadcast echoed everywhere. Humanity has returned. And we choose peace, but we will not be erased. And this time, the galaxy listened.